Crab cakes, concrete. Dover International Speedway. The concrete, unforgiving. Crab cakes, delicious. But only one will play into qualifying for Sunday's race here for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. As promised, the temperature broke 90 degrees today, settled down to about 89, track temp 115 on the concrete. As we get ready to qualify, nice and cool up here, but what's it going to look like out there for how many laps in this first round of qualifying?
Well, you know, we talked about how treacherous this joint is earlier in our practice show. Now it's slick. Now it's hot and slick. And so I think what a driver will do, and Jeff, I think you'll agree, you go out, if that first lap feels good, you get a good, you know, the crew chief says that's okay, that's good enough, you'll bring them back in. But I don't know that you can nail this thing in one lap. I think it might take two.
Well, we also talked about the commitment that it takes to run a fast lap around Dover. This place is, you know, high bank, the loads are incredible, and the speed you carry through these corners are amazing. Well, with the slick, track temps up 115 to 115, 15 degrees warmer than it was earlier, I think it's going to change everything of what they felt earlier on a limited amount of practice.
Now, as we get ready to qualify here, does anybody know what this is?
May the 4th be with you.
That's right. Today is May the 4th. It's a lightsaber. It was a gift to my son from his college buddies. This thing's got a good heft to it.
Let me feel that.
That's
Whoa.
awesome.
Whoa, now. Here you hold it.
Before you get too racy.
Fourth came all over me.
Here's Jamie Little.
Well, Joey Logano, he was first on track this morning in the only practice they had, and he's first out here with his fire suit ready to qualify. It's a little bit warmer this time, though. What is it, 3.5 hours since you guys practiced? How different do you think the track will be at this point?
Well, I think maybe the temperature doesn't affect it as much on these concrete tracks as much as the Xfinity cars just get done practicing, and the rubber they lay down, that changes these concrete tracks a lot, like Bristol and Dover here. So that'll be probably the biggest swing for us, and usually they don't drive better when the track's rubbered in like this. So I think we'll all be expecting to go really fast in qualifying, but it may not handle as good as we want them to. So we'll see what we got to show Penzo Ford. It was decent in practice. We made some changes. Hopefully we can get it turning a little bit better and have something for him.
So finally, Joey, we're at the racetrack, and you're a race winner this year. It had been a long time. What's it like coming back to the track, though, knowing you guys have that under your belt and you're in the playoffs?
That's what it feels like, to be able to just know you're in the playoffs and you can just focus on and getting as many bonus points and as playoff points and stage points as we can. And we're up there right now. We're second in points, and that feels good. And we've been consistent, so we want to keep that going. We don't want to change that. And we still need to get a little faster. I don't think we're exactly where we want to be yet, but we're making good progress on it. And now we can be aggressive and we can keep focusing in on trying to get those wins at this point. So it feels really, really good to get that win. And another one would be great. Getting one at Dover here would be the coolest.
All right, good luck to you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Jamie. Everybody here is focused on qualifying or on the camera that's pointed right at you. If you're going to talk Dover, you better talk Jimmy Johnson. Double-digit wins.
Wow.
That's more than most of the field have in their whole career.
It's amazing.
And that's just Dover. 3,105 laps led to date. Almost as many wins as the rest of the field combined here. So you might think he would be favorite. So we fed all the Bernie, all the effort, all the data to Bernie, our supercomputer program. And it looks like Bernie has been hanging out at his local Toyota dealer because all the Toyotas are in Bernie's top 10. Well, and no sign of Jimmy Johnson.
And I'll give Bernie a lot of credit. Last week at Talladega, which I think is very unpredictable, Bernie picked Joey Logano to win that race, and he won that race. Now, I got to disagree with Bernie here. I would at least have Jimmy Johnson. I know that he's not having a great year, hasn't led laps. Chevys haven't been strong. I would put him 5th or 6th on this list. To not even be on the top 10, I think Jimmy Johnson knows how to find a way here at Dover, no matter what's going on around him, to get himself into a decent finishing position.
I agree. Now here's Daniel Suarez, who is 10th on this list.
Well, he's got a couple of top 10s here, and I think he's won in the Xfinity race here, I think, and I think he may have even won a truck race here. So he's pretty darn good at Dover.
And he showed us just how bumpy this track is from the seat of the race car, wearing our Fox visor cam in practice.
Now, Mike, I knew this joint was rough, but I didn't know it was this rough.
Well, one thing this shows is how violent it is.
And just think, he's going to do this 400 laps.
And this is into turn 1. Big compression in the banking. Look at those hands working back and forth.
Well, we know from Daytona he's got quick hands.
Now watch this big bump. His head's going to show us. Bam, right there as it loads into the banking, or right before it does into turn 3.
You know the best thing he's got going for him? He's turning left most of the time.
I'm impressed with his hands in what I'm seeing. I think that's probably why this is a good track for him.
Green. But look at that grip. What a grip he's got on that wheel.
Yeah.
And that was a smooth run, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, second on Bernie's list of favorites is the hometown favorite, the Jersey boy. Here's Jamie.
And Martin Truex Jr. is a 3-time pole sitter here, won it here in the fall. So what's your game plan here, Martin? Do you wait a little bit or do you roll out right away?
I think with the Xfinity cars just having final practice, probably try to wait a few minutes, let some cars run, but you get into that situation where if everybody waits, then at some point you got to go. So we'll play it by ear, but I expect it to be pretty slick out there. I think the conditions are a bit hotter than we've seen here really the last few times in qualifying. So a little curveball for everybody for sure, but we'll see what we can get.
A lot of the talk during the Talladega race and after was the size of the saw that was working on your car. Blake Harris, your car chief, I guess invented this. What was your impression when you saw that thing?
You know, he was like a little kid. He knew that thing was in the hauler, and he's like just chomping at the bit to get to use it somewhere. And I'm like, man, let's hope we don't have to use this thing. Sure enough, Talladega, like we can't finish a race there to save our life, so we got to use it. But you could see the smile on his face when he was using that thing. You should have seen it. It was pretty funny. But yeah, it sure got a lot of coverage this week. That's about the only thing we did good last week was crash damage repair. So guys do a good job, and they're prepared for anything, as you could see there. And hopefully this weekend we won't need any of those big power tools.
Hey, it's all about innovation, and your team gets an A for effort there.
Absolutely.
Mike.
Hey, big-time auto racing requires big-time tools. Isn't that what Tim the Tool Man said? Jimmy Johnson will be out to qualify shortly. Boy, it seems like only yesterday. Can you believe it was 12 years ago when Jimmy Johnson had kind of the save of the gods here at Dover?
I wish I could explain to people at home how difficult that was to do. That he wasn't just saving it. I mean, he was driving it through the spin. And I loved it. I loved it.
You and Dick Berggren gave him a standing ovation there.
He deserved one.
That was pretty awesome. A lot of crooks there. Here's Jamie.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, and Jimmy just said, well, Jeff was happy there. What do you remember back to the early days trying to figure this place out?
For starters, that's not good for my confidence right now. I got to go out here on a hot, slick track and go, and to see that doesn't help any. But, you know, I was really lucky, and that spin in particular, I just never quit turning the wheel and jumping in the gas. Even though the engine was off, I acted like it was still running and kept fighting with it, and made it however many rotations it didn't catch the inside wall. So that was a very cool accomplishment not to crash here after spinning. I remember the left rear got into the dirt and just like showered cars with dirt and stuff as well. So there's a few funny memories that come from it, but I have so many great memories here at this track, and looking forward to a good qualifying session and a great race.
I'll tell you, motivation, 11 wins here. This is your best track, but it didn't start in NASCAR. It was actually ASA. Was there a love affair you had with this place the first time?
Really was. The first laps here, I was just blown away how different it was in any track. And also, too, at that point, I think the Nashville Fairgrounds was the most banked and fastest track I'd been on. So this place was, like, really, really mind-blowing, and still is, but especially then. And I remember pulling in the garage area and getting out of the car after the testing day they had for us. And everybody was pretty worried, and I was the only one smiling and just excited to be here. So I fell in love with the track then.
Everybody said the future is bright for this guy named Jimmy Johnson. He's going for his 4th pole here today.
And everybody was right. 7 championships. Kyle Larson, Casey Kane, Clint Boyer, Jamie Mack, among others, waiting for qualifying to begin. Welcome back to Dover, getting ready for qualifying here. Just a couple of minutes now that we're after Talladega. We go back to the traditional format of knockout qualifying. Round 1, fastest 24 advance to round 2. Half of that group advances to the final round to run for the Busch pole. Jamie?
Well, Mike, there's a lot of dog lovers in this garage, and you see on Kyle's car, he actually has a golden retriever on the side. Pedigree on the car this weekend. Pedigree stepped up today. We had a rescue dog out here. What's it like driving for them and knowing what they're giving back to local shelters?
Oh, it's amazing because, you know, the whole Mars group, they also give back to the Kyle Busch Foundation as well, too. But to the local shelters across the country, they do a lot of donations, and I even saw overseas they do over 6 figures of donations as well to different shelters. So worldwide brand, and certainly worldwide for cause as well too. But real proud of the Pedigree folks for being with us here this weekend, not necessarily just with us on the Cup car, but as well at Kyle Busch Motorsports with the truck and Todd Gilliland, and helping another young up-and-coming driver come up through the ranks, and hopefully getting his pedigree a little bit better and getting ready for NASCAR. But we'll see how qualifying goes for us right now. I think our car is pretty good, and would like to see this Pedigree Camry on the front row.
And that was Kent the Pit Bull in that picture, guys. He's up for adoption here at the SPCA Delaware. They came out earlier, so they got a nice $3,500 check.
Thanks, and Todd will start third today in the truck race, so KBM having a big weekend here. Larry Mack?
Yeah, I do not think we will see a lot of movement in the beginning of this qualifying session. I don't know if we can go back and completely relate it to Bristol, because Bristol had the traction compound. We don't have that here. But I still believe with this racetrack sitting for about the last 30 or 40 minutes, these drivers, these teams, these crew chiefs, they want to wait it out a little bit. They want to see what kind of grip that the track truly has. And I think that's one reason we're only seeing drivers pull down to the end of pit road and sitting and waiting.
I agree, Larry, and it might be sort of the opposite of what we were dealing with in Bristol, where in Bristol you needed a little bit of rubber and heat into that traction compound, where here that sun has baked that rubber, and I think it's made it very, very slick. So they want to know what kind of grip level there is, and let some others get out there and run it in.
You know, Mike, this track is symmetrical. I mean, the straightaways are the same length. They're about 1,000 feet long down the straightaways. Corners are banked the same. But it does not drive the same. Each end of this racetrack drives totally different to me.
Well, in practice, we had a list of active winners at Dover in the race, and I'm not sure I saw this name on it. Derek Cope, in 1990, driving for Bob Whitcomb out of New Hampshire in a car wrenched by Buddy Parrott.
Yep.
Won the Daytona 500, and it was because Dale Earnhardt cut a tire trying to break the draft on the last lap. He ran over something going into turn 3, but Cope was in a position to win. He won the 500, and for all the people who said fluke, no, he came here in May and he won this race for his second career win.
You don't fluke your way into a win here at Dover.
No, not at all.
No, they had a good car that day.
So Starcom Racing, in which Cope is part of that entity, running the 00 for Landon Castle and a second car for the boss.
Let me tell you, Big Buddy Parrott, pretty good crew chief.
Yes, he was.
He helped me a lot, I know that.
And that is not going to make anybody real happy on pit road, seeing that car was sideways and sliding up the racetrack. So I think we're going to have to wait and see some more cars go before you see some of the heavy hitters that are going to advance to the second round make some laps.
Yeah, Jeff, Derek only ran 5 laps in that earlier practice, but that's slower than what his fastest lap was.
I think you said this, Jeff. It's almost hardly ever do they run faster than they practice.
This track changes so much. We heard the drivers talk about the Xfinity cars were out there. You know, truck qualifying was out there. Xfinity cars were practicing, laying more rubber down. Track temp's gone up 15 degrees. No matter what, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Well, and let's not forget, this track sat for half an hour after Xfinity practice was done.
I know it's concrete, and we say concrete, you know, the track temperature doesn't have a big effect or doesn't go up and down as much as a paved track does. But for some reason, this track changes more from the end of practice to the beginning of qualifying than any track that we go to, in my mind.
I think here you need a really sharp tire guy. I think you got to look at your tire data and try to determine just how much you want to pump those right side tires up to get good grip on that little bit hotter, a little bit slicker rubber.
Whoa! Got the apron a little bit, Cody Ware. Saw the left front touch the apron. That car turned sideways.
Help!
Cody in the KeensBuildings.com Chevrolet was the slowest car in practice, 25:46. 38 cars are here, so all will start the race on Sunday.
Whoa, he got that apron again.
Car is turning strong.
Yeah, maybe he's turning right down on the apron.
26.61. Now, see if he runs a second here. That's about
he's like,
6/10 off of his practice lap.
He's thinking to himself, oh gosh, now I got to go run another one?
Do I really want to run another lap? I think if he stays off the apron, he'll pick up a good bit of speed.
Well, that's right on top of what he practiced, within 1/10 of his best practice lap. But
so this is just coming through 3 and 4, coming to take the green. You see the car turns down. Woo. Strong gets on the apron.
You ever done that? Never mind.
Not here. Not
Never
here.
mind.
I've not. A pretty drastic transition in banking, and not to mention just when you get that left front tire on to a transition like that, the way it loads the left front and pulls the back end of the car around is pretty aggressive here.
The reason I asked you if you had ever done that, I have.
So Cody Ware's third lap is right on top of his practice speed, which was not stellar. Not much of an indicator there.
Okay, so I'll bite.
Yeah.
DW, has that ever happened to you?
It happened to me. and you won't believe this. I was driving the Mountain Dew car. Tim Brewer was my crew chief. And I was clipping that apron coming off turn 4. And he said, DW, you need to watch that apron. Going to spin you out. I said, I got it, buddy. Don't worry. Next time by, I think I got down the apron a little too much, and I spun out. I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Ty Dillon of the Geico Chevy. Want to thank him for carrying our visor cam last week and his team. He'll be the third of 38 drivers to run here in round 1.
Boy, just a little bit loose right in the middle of that corner.
I love drivers that wear white gloves so you can really see their hands through the windshield working back and forth.
I think that should be a rule, like you have to have a white drive shaft in case it falls out. They can find it on the track. You need to wear white gloves so everybody can see how hard you're working in there. Top of the chart, 23:45 for the number 13, and that is not as fast as he practiced. 2/10 difference.
And Mike, I always hate to bring things like this up. But
go ahead.
There was a time when we didn't even have to wear gloves. I mean, there was a time when that was like up to the driver if he wanted to or not. I mean, it's amazing to me how we've evolved to where we are.
I meant to ask you, I saw a picture this week on Twitter. I was going to ask you about those the boots that you were wearing. They were not SFI or fire resistant.
My first pair of racing gloves were dark green.
Yeah.
Because I got them at the Army surplus store. They were helicopter pilot surplus gloves, and that's what we could afford.
Well, the drivers back in the day, they don't always just say, oh, those, I can't feel the car. I can't feel the car through those big old heavy gloves.
Landon Castle, the RH Electric Chevrolet. He practiced, RNH Electric rather. He practiced at 23.86.
Second.
Just a little bit better.
That's a little quicker than he practiced. 23.64 for Landon. And here comes a contender, Kevin Harvick.
And I just don't know if these conditions are going to improve a whole lot during this session. So I don't know if it's worth waiting around.
But remember, it only takes about 24 seconds to run a lap around here. So a couple of minutes to go, you still can get several laps in if you want.
Yeah, but we got 34 drivers still needs to qualify just a little over 7 minutes.
And we want to remind you, in our telemetry here down on the lower left, that little yellow indicator there, that is the steering input angle. Straight up is straight ahead. And that shows how much wheel each driver's having to put into it to get through the corner.
We can hear him not able to get full throttle off of turn 4.
23.04. And he practiced at 22.58.
Yeah.
I'll be very surprised if we get close to what we saw in practice.
But I think that one lap, I think that was pretty smart on his part. He feels like that'll get him to the next round, and he's only got one lap on his tires.
Greg Galding from Colonial Heights near Richmond, Virginia. Let's see, in practice.
Whoa, baby.
That was a
moment. Baby. Just about ended up in Richmond Heights.
He keeps that up. Jimmy Spencer's going to have to retire that Mr. Excitement plaque and just pass it on to this young fellow.
He's got to catch his breath here a little bit. Now, let me think about this.
The Earthwater Toyota practiced at 23.70. His lap 24.86, more than a second slower.
All right, here's the guy that was not in Bernie's top 10.
No, but he was second in practice, so showed some speed right there at the end of practice. See if he can back that up.
Little wiggle there.
See, I see the car move around a little bit. That just seems to be kind of normal right now for all these cars. Didn't necessarily over-attack that corner. Got out of the gas a little early, but that's not a bad thing.
If I had to guess, Jack and I say put a solid lap in. Don't try to get too much out of it.
Nice.
And he does.
23:07, just 3/100ths off.
Oh, but
Harvick.
tried for a second lap there through 1 and 2, and we saw the back end come around.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Martin Truex, fastest, 22:97. Last year's pole for this race was 22:64.
I think we'll probably see some quicker times, Mike, as we go into each round.
Jamie McMurray on the right, William Byron on your left.
Kind of right now, Mike, as you know, I mean, the mission is to get to the next round.
Right.
And not to use up any more car or tire than you have to make that happen.
And trying to figure out if you put a lap down good enough to transfer. Was that the right lap? Was it smooth enough? Was it fast enough? That's a hard guessing game.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. I just always had to go about as hard as I could because that's the only way I knew how to go.
Casey Kane on the left. Larson and McMurray right together, 4th and 5th. And Austin Dillon on the right.
Yeah, he's abandoning his lap coming back in.
Kane is 6th. Allmendinger.
Jeff, every time I slowed down, there was somebody on the radio saying, Durrell, you ain't laying down on me, are you, boy?
Eric Jones goes to 4th. Reed Sorensen on the right. And we'll have a look at what happened to Austin Dillon.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, pretty good.
Just loose.
I tell you, again, going back to the commitment, the speed you're carrying here, it doesn't take much for that back end to step out to get your attention and either back into the wall or cause you to have to come back to pit road.
And Jeff, the driver was committed, but the car wasn't there for him.
Yeah.
He just didn't stick.
Alex Bowman and Paul Menard. Menard was fastest in practice this morning. Bowman 6th here in round 1. Menard 7th.
Darrell, I think I heard Jimmy Johnson say my confidence level exceeded the grip level.
Yeah.
Keselowski to the top, 22.94. And Clint Boyer to 8th.
Whose car is that right? Oh, the 43, or no, the 43 is.
Bubba Wallace. And Kyle
right
Busch.
on our screen.
I think Kyle Busch is the one to watch. I think he's probably going to be a real contender for winning the pole today, and it's not going to necessarily happen in round 1 or 2. It's about how they advance and make adjustments for round 3.
Ricky Stenhouse to 5th, Clint Boyer to 9th.
There you go.
And Kyle Busch to the top by 3/100ths.
Looks like you're going to have to run a low 90 to be on the pole at this point.
Chase Elliott to 5th. Chris Buescher now 14th. And that is Ryan Blaney to 4th place on the left. Kurt Busch on the right.
I think about
Eric Almirola 13th.
how strong those Fords were in practice. A lot of blue ovals towards the top of the time chart in practice.
I think about how strong Kurt Busch was at Bristol. Man, he had a car that was really bad fast, and he wrecked it in practice, had to go to a backup, but they were pretty darn good at Bristol.
13th, he and Almirola almost identical times, his teammate. Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, a couple of the Toyotas out. Suarez to 10th.
Hamlin's right there. I think this is a really nice solid lap. This is what you need to do to just get yourself advanced in the second round and only maybe put 1 lap on the tires.
4th for Hamlin. Michael McDowell and his teammate David Reagan.
McDowell's been qualifying pretty good.
Boy, he was flirting with that outside wall coming off of turn 4.
Trevor Bayne 19th, Matt DiBenedetto 21st.
Got a minute and 20 seconds.
A little bit of a moment there. He saw Logano had to turn back to the right as he landed into turn 1. We'll see how much that's going to cost him. Nice recovery, but he might advance. But boy, that was a moment that
Yeah.
I guarantee you got his attention.
Well, the bump spot right now is Bubba Wallace, 23.34.
Yeah, Logano's
Safe.
Save 16th. Got a minute
And
to
Ryan
go.
Newman 23rd. That bumps William Byron. Casey Kane on the bubble now.
Wow, Logano's going to go for 2, guys.
He is 16th right now.
And Mike Darian Grubb and William Byron knew that lap was coming. He was driving down pit road as he got bumped out to go out there and start another lap.
Thanks, Larry. Ross Chastain 30th. Byron back out. Logano stays 16th.
Yeah,
he didn't pick up. He ran almost the same as he did the first lap.
He ran a lot of he ran a lot of race runs in what practice we had this morning. Logano did, so I think he has a good race car.
William Byron and Ty Dillon trying to bump back in and bump Casey Kane and Ryan Newman.
I don't know. He was really wide through 1 and 2, but for William Byron, he gets off of turn 4 a little bit better. This is going to be close.
Yeah, he's in.
In.
William Byron bumps Casey Kane. And Ty Dillon does not bump back in. So Kyle Busch is our qualifying leader after round 1 of 3 at Dover. Casey Kane and Ryan Newman had identical first round times. The tie broken because Newman's higher in the owner points. He'll advance in 24th position. Casey Kane will not. Darrell Wallace 26th among those drivers who have their positions locked in for Sunday's race. Jamie.
Well, Bubba Wallace, you saw it there, qualified 26th, and he's had great success no matter if it's Xfinity or trucks. Does that put more expectation on your shoulders when you come here, even though it's your first time in a Cup car?
Yeah, I don't care about that. I love coming here and putting on a good show and having a good run, and just bummer we ended up 16th there. I thought our team, our Eckridge team, made decent adjustments. It felt better qualifying. We know the track was going to slow down, but just frustrated at how much speed we actually had, and it wasn't good enough. So just frustrating. I love coming to this place. Always have since 2011, and always shown decent speed. So I know it's not where you start, it's where you finish, but damn, it's frustrating.
Thanks, Bubba.
He will roll off 26th on Sunday. And Casey Kane tied for the 24th spot, but NASCAR rules indicate the ties are broken by car owner standings. So Casey will start 25th.
Casey was up the golf tournament yesterday. Pretty good little golfer.
Yeah. So 24 drivers move on to round 2 of 3-round knockout qualifying. And here they are. Toyota's up the top after Ford's dominated practice today. Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson in striking distance for the Chevrolets, and the rest of the top 24. Well, Kyle Busch came into Talladega and did not win NASCAR version of Powerball, but he had won 3 in a row coming in there.
Yeah.
Trying to pick up where he left off as we went to Talladega.
4 out of 5 ain't bad.
No, it's not. How's that song go?
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's okay. 24 drivers to compete in round 2. Half will advance to the medal round. Now, to add insult to injury, not only did Ryan Newman tie Casey Kane on their first lap, 23.306, they both ran 2 laps, and their second lap was 23.508. Not just Newman's, but Kane's was identical.
If we're talking about Powerball odds,
yeah,
I'm telling you, those are like beyond Powerball odds of that to even be possible.
That's a jillion to 1 right there.
Yes.
I just don't see how that could happen.
No, but it did. They tied on both their qualifying laps. Track is open for qualifying round 2. 24 drivers and half will advance to the final round.
Hurry, hurry, hurry. Come on down here. Come on, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yippee!
High roller right there.
We got a little bit of a hazy cloud over the track right now, and I just wonder if you might see some of these drivers go ahead and head on out there because they think maybe the track temps come down slightly.
A little bit higher line there with the 42
Yes,
that time.
I think that can be a benefit coming to the green if you get it low and get a good run at the line.
See what he does here in 1 and 2. He's up a little bit.
You can see the back end just stepping out ever so slightly, but he carried that slide pretty nice through 1 and 2.
Got her yawed out.
Yawed out.
All right, the DC Solar Chevrolet will be the first car to put up a time in round 2. 9 minutes to go in the round. 22.867.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good pickup over round 1.
Yes, sir.
Larson, Bowman, 23.128. Almost exactly what he ran in the first round. Chris Buescher, 23.14.
And I think Larson's a good judge because he gets around this place, I think, as good as anybody. He had the most laps led last year at this racetrack in both events.
I like because he ran a little bit different line. He moved up a little bit, got a pretty nice run out of it.
Yeah. Sorry, Darrell. I saw Bowman step out.
Bowman a little slower.
It's going to come around off of turn 4.
Keselowski, 23.07. So now getting up to speed are Harvick, Hamlin, and Truex.
You could hear Kevin Harvick just playing with that throttle. He was not able to get wide open. That tells me he's not exactly 100% where he wants to be with this car.
Kind of pedaled it a little bit up off the corner.
But it didn't hold him back through 1 and 2.
He got back in it nice.
It's just not quite getting off of turn 4 is good.
22.93 for Harvick. And that is a 10th faster than round 1.
And you brought it up, Darrell, that these corners are symmetrical, but boy, do they drive different. There's just different grip levels and patches in the concrete and something about the banking transition bumps, but they both drive completely different.
Yeah, I mean, if you take the measurements, it looks like it's symmetrical, but it's
Stenhouse to second here, 22.92. Jamie?
And Casey Kane, it's so rare that we see a tie like that. Have you ever been part of a tie like that with Ryan Newman in qualifying?
Yeah, and we slowed down 2/10 the second lap, and so did he. So today's his lucky day to be 24th. We're still not talking about a very good position, but yeah, we just need a little more. I was really tight front end or around the whole corner. It's just like my second run in practice. First run in practice was the exact opposite, so we went back to that. It turned really well, and then right here it didn't. So we have some work to do with our always Camaro's L1, but look forward to a couple practices tomorrow, try to get better for the race.
All right, Casey Kane qualified 26, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Chase Elliott up to second. Ricky Stenhouse up to third.
Chevy Camaro is showing a little speed right now.
Trevor Bayne, Eric Almirola, and Eric Jones.
So, Mike, we're averaging about 158, 59 miles an hour average around this racetrack. So you got to be doing about 175 probably down the straightaway. So aero is pretty important here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely important here.
Jones 8th, Almirola now 10th, and Trevor Bayne 13th. So the bump spot is Paul Menard, who was fastest in practice, currently 12th. McMurray and Byron at speed.
Jamie was just a little unstable getting into 3. You see the car just wiggle slightly, which really upsets the car and the driver.
Byron 12th, that bumps Paul Menard. McMurray 15th, so Byron on the bubble, 23.17. Clint Boyer, Jimmy Johnson. Boyer takes the green. And Johnson 13th.
Oh yeah, not going to be happy with that lap. See if he makes a second lap or comes in and tries to work on it. Probably not enough time to cool down and go back out.
Oh, baby.
Let's not see that again.
No, I thought he was going to show us how to spin out on turn 4 because he had her loose.
Second lap for Johnson, 2/10 slower. Clint Boyer 6th. 23.04.
He's probably happy he made it happen on the first lap. That second lap looked a little bit uneasy into 1.
Joey's not very good. You saw that in the first go round.
And we saw this, yeah, exactly the same. Going into turn 1, he had to correct and get up the racetrack. It didn't cost him too much in round 1, but I don't know if it's going to be if he can recover enough in this round
Chris Buescher on the bubble, 23-14.
I think one of the most amazing stats that we've had today. How many laps do you say Joey Logano has led here? 3
total.
Unbelievable.
In 18 starts. Nice run for Kurt Busch, 6th. That will bump Buescher. And now Kyle Busch bumps Almirola. So Bowman to the bubble. And the bump spot is 23-21. Or excuse me, 23-12 by Bowman.
Well, not only are we seeing how much the track changed from practice to qualifying, but from round 1 to round 2, throwing some teams and some drivers off of what they felt.
I think that's what this track does, Jeff. You went out that first go-round. Well, we need to make this adjustment. Whoops, that was the wrong way. And it keeps you guessing all the time.
Ryan Blaney bumps Alex Bowman, so 23-11 is now the bump time. Here's Newman. Ryan Newman, the 31. Caterpillar Chevy against Daniel Suarez in the number 19.
Suarez showing again why he likes this racetrack and has run well here. Look at those. I like where his hands are at. Not a lot of turning back to the right. Feed the throttle.
Newman 20th. Whoa, 3rd for Suarez. 22.92, fastest Toyota in round 2.
Had a grip on that steering wheel and got a pretty good grip on that qualifying lap.
Yes.
It's just always so funny to me. You go to a track, you do well, you like that track, you always do well at that track.
So Matt DiBenedetto will be the final qualifier in round 2. Larson the quickest Chevy, Suarez the fastest Toyota, and Stenhouse the fastest Ford right now. Eric Jones is the bump spot, 23.08.
I think it's impressive that DiBenedetto transferred from round 1 to round 2.
Nice job. So the Clean Parts Ford finishes up.
Couple of minutes.
24th.
Couple minutes to go, Mike.
Got
Still
2 minutes.
Plenty of time.
Got 2 minutes. Maybe Blaney, Bowman, Almirola, or Buescher.
Now Byron, he picked up speed when he went out a second time in round 1. Let's see if he can do that again here in round 2.
You know, as far as Alex Bowman in that 88 car, Greg Ives may be talking to Alex in determining, can we run faster? If we can't run faster, let's just take this 13th or 14th place starting spot and let's just go on. Let's move on.
Let's not put some more laps on our tires.
Yes.
Interesting that Kyle Larson was the first car on track in this round, and he is fastest.
And also, Mike, I thought he ran a lot higher on the racetrack than what we've seen most everybody run today. So he may have discovered a little something there that helped him.
Almirola he was close to bumping in here. Byron 5/10 slower.
Almirola so close
lap.
to being able to get himself advanced into the next round. 13.
Missed it by 100th of a second.
Wow.
Boy, they're scurrying with this 88 car. We're down to 44 seconds. You need to be leaving pit road somewhere around 26 to 27 seconds to be able to start a lap. He's just going to be right on the threshold of it.
It's going to be so close.
Eric Jones, 23.08 is the bump spot. Almirola was 23.096, an agonizing 100th of a second.
Boy,
Can he make
I just
it?
don't. Yeah.
Hamlin's safe.
Boy,
with only one car on track.
It's going to be so close.
I don't think he's going to make it, guys.
I don't think he is either, Larry.
He has to get to the line before the clock turns to midnight.
And unfortunately, he's not going to make it.
3, 2, 1. It's over. That was, hey, Larry, it was so close.
He has seen the flag.
If you see the flag, you do not get to run another lap. So.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you have to run somewhat of a controlled speed down pit road, and that's what he did. He, instead of just accelerating down pit road and exceeding that, he just tried to be safe there, and that cost him just a couple seconds.
Yeah, he put lap on his tire and didn't get any credit for it.
Kyle Larson, he went out first. He's fastest in round 2. Starting positions 13 through 24 for Sunday's 400-miler at Dover are locked in. Eric Almirola will share that 7th row with Ryan Blaney. Jamie?
And he qualified 14th. Don't seem too happy about the race car overall and race trim and qualifying. What was your biggest issue?
I don't know. We were just tight. We were loose on entry the first round and pretty tight on exit, so we tried to do something to help both, and I just kind of got tight overall. So I probably didn't do the best job either, but you know, I think we got some work to do for tomorrow for our race car. We made one race run today, and we were so-so, but hopefully we can hit it good tomorrow and be right for Sunday. We'll see. But no, I can't thank Duracell Menards for being on board, and nice to be here in Dover. It's a tough racetrack, but we enjoy the challenge, and hopefully we can rise up to it.
Thanks, Ryan. Guys?
He only missed the final round by 3/100ths of a second. William Byron 17th with a 23:17. Missed it by a 10th. Alex Bowman missed it by about a minute. Getting to make...
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, I know you are.
Just missed getting to run that extra lap. Trevor Bayne 22nd on Sunday. So these 12 drivers, including all the Toyotas, 2 Chevrolets and 5 Fords, will run for the pole next. NASCAR's tough trucks and young names take on Dover. They are center stage for a dinner time 200-miler that is coming up shortly. Final round is set for the Cup Cars, 12 drivers, one of whom will win the Busch pole.
No playing around now.
Who you like?
I like the 18.
Boy, you know, I loved what those Chevrolets did in that last round. If I had to pick one, I just think Larson's so good around this track, and I think they can adapt for this third round to the changes.
Well, that he is, but wouldn't it be fun if Daniel Suarez were to secure a pole?
That would be great.
That would be a celebration.
And then I want him to talk over one of those laps that we've been watching.
Yeah, right.
And I'll say all day long, he has been right on the money.
He
solid.
has.
That car's look good.
Been right there.
Well, a couple of drivers are following Kyle Larson's strategy from round 2 and jumping right out there.
Yeah, and running a little bit higher, too. I know a number of these guys are coming through 3 and 4 a little higher than they did earlier today.
I'm pretty sure they were all fed a little bit of information of what Kyle Larson did on that lap in the second round.
So Ricky Stenhouse, this is the Little Hug Fruit Barrels Ford. That's a mouthful. Up against the DC Solar Chevy of Kyle Larson.
I think he's a little too high.
Oops. That was an oops.
You know, guys, of these 12 drivers, all of them are on equal tires except for Eric Jones. He had 3 laps on his. Everybody else had 2.
Wow.
22:77 for Larson. That's his fastest lap
I was
of the day.
impressed with Stenhouse Jr.'s lap, and then Larson came and upped it.
22:92 for Stenhouse. Elliott at a 96. Hamlin an 07.
I really didn't. I thought Larson would have a shot at the pole. I didn't see him upping it by a 10th over his round 2 speed.
I tell you, it's just they're running a different line. I think that helps a little bit. A lot of them have. They've moved up a little bit above that really dark streak that we see on the track, which is a lot of rubber. That seemed to help some of them.
I'm excited for that for our race on Sunday. That tells me that these Goodyear tires and the way that the rubber is laying into the racetrack is going to give us some great racing.
Keselowski and Truex in the 5-Hour Energy Toyota, the Miller Lite 4.
Jeff, you know this, but you talk about a thrill when you run up next to the wall here. Doesn't happen very often, hadn't happened in a long time, but if we happen to get up there, that's a thrill ride, brother.
Oh, yeah. I just don't want to be the first one up there.
A little dusty, a little dirty, a little treacherous.
A little abrasive on the tires.
Truex to second. 22:86, his fastest lap of the day.
Boy, don't you know he's going to be a major contender here on Sunday. He loves this track. He's led a lot of laps here in the past.
Keselowski 23:01. Now Kurt Busch on the right.
What do you think? Larson's out. I think
Larson's
I got this.
saying, "Come and get me."
I got this.
Yeah.
I got my glad. I'm ready to go.
Eric Jones Kevin Harvick.
Or even Kevin Harvick run a little bit higher line than we've seen him run.
Kurt Busch 6th at a 23.03.
You can see when your car goes in low and slides up the racetrack a little bit and you're hesitating to get in the throttle, that's a sign of your car's not doing exactly what you want it to do to make the lap to win the pole here.
I think you nailed it with that one word, slides. You don't really want it sliding
That's
around
still
at all.
really close.
Harvick to 2nd, 22.85.
What's this 18 got?
4th, 22.89 for Kyle.
That looks like that pretty well sealed the deal to me. What do you think?
Haven't seen Suarez.
Yeah. Still got to wait
Yep.
for Suarez.
Oh, your guy. I forgot about him.
Yeah, thanks
We
a lot.
always forget about Mike's guy.
One thing I can tell you, I haven't picked one of them yet all year. So
My guy went 4th so far. We're going to know here in a second.
and he certainly knows what he has to run.
Yep, Clint Boyer 11th, 23.12. The last one to qualify is Suarez.
And Mike, you could lay this shot right here over everyone we watched, and his hands in the same place every time.
I thought it was interesting. It looked like he made a little bit of a track bar adjustment with this thumb. See him making that adjustment with his right thumb? That's a track bar adjustment as that car's kind of giving him some feedback of what he needs it to do in the next corner.
That's a handful of steering wheel.
That is, man. Got a grip on that thing.
Where's it going to end up? 7th, 22.99.
I can tell he's a little bit disappointed in that lap. Chip
Ganassi
Everybody stand back. Chip's here.
congratulates his driver.
He will beat the crap out of those guys.
Kyle Larson has his 5th career pole in his 158th start. All coming at different racetracks, Jamie.
High fives, handshakes all around. It was funny to watch Chip Ganassi standing there. He's bending his hard card the whole qualifying session. Did you get everything you hoped for there? Did you leave any out there? Hold on. Chug points.
Chug points. I felt like I nailed that lap pretty good. Everything from coming to the green to my 1 and 2 was really good. 3 and 4 maybe left a little bit out there. I got in there a little hot and up the track. You know, I'd planned on kind of moving up the racetrack each round. The first round caught me off guard. I was really loose getting in, but they made great adjustments on the DC Solar Chevy throughout the next 2 rounds. And the second round we were probably a little too tight, and they kind of found the happy medium there for the final round. So happy about that. We've always qualified good here. Have yet to get a pole. Have raced well here and have yet to get a win. So maybe we'll get both out of LA this weekend.
You know, as you know, everybody talks about the new Camaro, when you guys will be up there, when you can contend for wins consistently. This is the first pole since Daytona. What do you think about Sunday? What do you guys feel like you need to work on with your race car, if anything?
I've never been one of the guys that have said we've been behind where we were last year with the new Camaros. I felt like our team's done a really good job of taking what we had last year with the SS and then putting everything that we've learned through that into the Camaro and been just as fast. I think you've seen other race teams be a little faster than they were last year, but I feel like we've been kind of right where we have been speed-wise. So now we just got to execute and tweak on our stuff a little bit better to keep up and hopefully we can start getting some wins.
All right, Kyle Larson gets his first pole at Dover and his first of 2018.
A happy Chip Ganassi, who often tweets hashtag I like winners. He's got one today. Kyle Larson, the pole sitter. It'll be a Chevy Ford front row on Sunday. Interesting fact here. Since 2009, the only drivers to win at Dover have been of champion caliber. See how that plays out on Sunday.
That make you go,
Says something about this track.
Well, Kyle Larson starts from the pole. He's not yet won a championship. Nor is Ricky Stenhouse in 5th. Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez.
No, but Harvick, Truex, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, they certainly have.
The usual suspects.
Pretty good cars scattered all through the field. Hamlin over there and outside of row 5.
Chris Busch up there.
Busher, good
Alex
job
Bowman
by him.
in that row 8.
Bowman down here.
And the big question for Sunday, what of Jimmy Johnson? Starting back in row 10, the driver who's dominated Dover.
Well, he's got some work cut out for him, but boy, I just never count this guy out here.
No, but I've said this before, and y'all kind of make, sometimes you agree and sometimes you do that. When they don't qualify good, they don't normally race great. They might race okay, but not great.
It's okay if they start the back of the field and
that
don't
didn't count. He didn't qualify. He didn't qualify that day.
Well, that didn't count.
That didn't count. Always messing up my statistics.
So during Daniel Suarez's run, we saw his right hand move over to the track bar adjuster as he was going down the straightaway. There you see that adjuster, and he'll move that with his thumb.
Yeah, so that's an electric motor. You can see he pushes his thumb on it. That probably, if I had to guess, was raising it up for the next corner. He felt a little bit too tight.
Larry has more with our Ford Performance car.
Well, if Daniel Suarez was using it during qualifying, I can't imagine what's going to go on during this race. So let's talk about the driver adjustable track bar. You see on our Ford Performance car, it's there on the left side of the steering wheel. And of course, you can raise it or lower it. And what it does, Jeff talked about the little electric motor right there that actually moving and raising the track bar. It's hooked to the frame on the right side. And normally if the car is tight, which is what will happen the more rubber goes down, they will raise that track bar on the right side. But if it starts to get loose, you can lower it, and I would say that will be used a lot as you go with fresh tires and get on into a run.
A lot to do here at Dover, even at these speeds and bouncing around. Jamie.
Well, William Byron was up talking to his crew chief. So first time here as a rookie. What is Dover like in a Cup car?
It's a handful. It kind of magnifies everything in the race car. For us, we just need a little bit more practice. I think we kind of missed it on both rounds, and I felt like we just were kind of all over the place as far as balance. So overall, pretty good day for us. 17th isn't what we're looking for, but it's a good rebound for us to get through this day and kind of get to tomorrow and hopefully get some more practice.
Your teammate Jimmy Johnson, the best ever here, 11 wins. Do you lean on him tomorrow and ask for his advice, both how to set up the car and just what you're supposed to be feeling?
Yeah, I think definitely. You look at his data, look at what he's done here in the past and some of the videos that we have. So obviously Jimmy's been awesome here for years, and really with any race car, he's able to make it work. So that's what I'm going to look towards, and I'll be able to start around him. So hopefully he doesn't pass us too quick, but if he does, then we can kind of learn from him and see what we do from there.
Thanks, William. William Byron will roll off 17th on Sunday.
Thanks, Jamie. Here are the pole sitters so far this season. Kyle Larson, the second to do it in a Chevrolet. Alex Bowman was on pole at Daytona.
I think today was a big moment for the Chevy Camaro because we've not seen them, other than on a restrictor plate track, really be in contention for a pole. So I think maybe they're making some ground up. We heard Kyle Larson talk about maybe that team hasn't been as far behind as some of the people have mentioned the Chevrolet other teams.
But if you look at Larson and Elliott, those have been the two best Chevys kind of consistently, and they're both in the top 10, and they're the only Chevys in the top 14. So those two cars have been the exception.
Well, Jamie, let's hear from the driver who was second fastest of the Fords today.
Yes, great qualifying effort for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. coming off another top 5 finish as well. What do you think you guys have for this weekend, Ricky?
We were really good here with our little hugs, fruit barrels Ford this race last year. We struggled when we came back in the fall, but we knew some things that we did different. So we came back like we were in the spring, more or less, and showed up. And we didn't have much practice with the way tech was going. So we ran 2 laps in practice, and I felt pretty good with it. And then we qualified good. So I was really wanting to be on the front row with Larson after we went. I didn't realize he had gone that fast. And after I looked at my time and looked at his, I knew there was going to be cars in between us. But that'd have been cool to be on the front row with him. But so far, so good. I love coming to Dover. Like you said, coming off a top 5 this past weekend at Talladega. Hopefully we can hit this summer stretch on a good run and have a good practice day tomorrow. Those have been a struggle for us lately. So hopefully we'll have a good clean day tomorrow, learn a lot, and get ready for the race.
When we watch you race, it's a lot of fun because you're aggressive. You always kind of put on a show. If we put a camera on, you're putting on a show. How would you describe racing at this place as far as your style?
I think if you watch my qualifying laps, they're the same way. I run a lot higher than everybody else, carry a lot more speed into the corners.
Those are the things that help me find speed out of our race cars. I'd love to run around the bottom of this racetrack, but I can't ever find the speed. I can't get the car to do what I want it to do with speed like the other cars do. So I run a lot higher than everybody else in qualifying and tend to in the race too.
Well, you're doing a good job. Qualified 5th for Sunday's race. We'll see him in practice tomorrow, Mike.
Yeah, we will, bright and early. Now, we still have trucks today coming up here. A little snapshot there for Ricky. So trucks on the way. Ben Rhodes getting ready to race. And tomorrow, Cup practice bright and early. It'll be almost 70 degrees at 8:30 in the morning. Then Xfinity qualifying, Cup final practice, and the Xfinity race at 12:30 p.m. All those times are 1 hour earlier than originally scheduled due to the change in the weather.
Not all good guys wear capes. Some monsters can disguise themselves. This week, the Cup Series drives for a purpose. For a greater good, it's the Drive for Autism from Dover.
Coverage begins Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Time. Everything on FS1. This week in the concrete canyons of Dover. Tires lined up and getting ready for tonight's truck race. Xfinity tomorrow. Ricky Stenhouse signs a few. And the Cup race on Sunday. The weather will change. 90 degrees today. Expected high tomorrow around 70. Similar or cooler on Sunday.
And that will change this place a lot.
Yeah, oh, it definitely does. It'll give the track a whole lot more grip. We won't see cars move around quite as much tomorrow.
And it could be a green racetrack Sunday. Might have a little overnight rain on Saturday.
Don't
as long as it's overnight, that's okay.
Yeah.
Race day coming up next, and the Jegs 200 for the Truck Series to follow. So enjoy this supper time 200 miler from Dover, and we'll see you for practice bright and early, 8:30 tomorrow morning.